Jesus said, in a depressed world, you should be a source of joy. In a decaying world, you should be a source of life. In a worried world, you should be a source of peace. You should add something positive to the world's existence. And here's what I need you to know. If you're not the salt of the earth, there will be no salt. Because typically, people don't add what they add to make the world better. They add what they add for their own personal benefit and gain. Look at Mark 9:50. Salt is good, but if the salt has lost its saltiness, how will you make it salty again? Have salt in yourselves and be at peace with one another. Let's read James 1:27 together. Religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their affliction and keep oneself unstained from the world. I love Colossians 4:6. You sounded so good. Let's read that one together as well. Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person. Underline that phrase, seasoned with salt. Just like food for many is hard to eat unless it has some seasoning, you want to make sure your verbiage is seasoned in a positive way so that what you have to say is palatable to those you are communicating with. Here's the second thing. Number 2, your presence should make a difference everywhere you go in the world. Your presence should make a difference everywhere in the world you go. Circle that word presence. One of the things that we need to learn and we need to utilize for the kingdom's sake is the power of presence. Your presence makes a difference. Somebody just this past week said, Pastor said, you know, folk act different when you're not around, don't you? And I said, what do you mean? Oh, man, when they hear you on campus or your voice is in the hallway, all of a sudden people start acting different. And I notice when I go up, for example, on the second floor with our high school kids and they hear my voice or they see me, all of a sudden they start pulling up pants. And folks start quieting down. But here's the thing. I don't know how different people act when I'm not around because I'm not around. But I'm told that my presence makes a difference. Here's what I need somebody in here to understand. Your presence makes a difference. Now, the question is it a positive difference or a negative difference? Right? My grandfather said there's some folk that make people glad twice, glad to see them come and glad to see them go. Do you make a positive difference or a negative difference when you are around? But either way, your presence should matter. Now watch what he says. He says, you are the salt, there it is, of the earth. You know what the problem is for many of us? We are not so much preoccupied with getting to heaven, but we are preoccupied with creating heaven on earth.